Ladies and gentlemen, there I am, Capital Catalyst, selling on TCG Player. And let me tell you a tale about how once upon a time I was perfect. This was a 100% positive feedback with over 10,000 plus sales. And now it's 99.9. And let me tell you a story about how I deserve that 99.9, but also how you can avoid this. Avoid this mistake. Don't be like me. Hi, my name's Nick. I run a business called Capital Catalyst where I buy, sell, trade, collect. I do not vend. I do grade. Those are other stories for Magic the Gathering. And I'm excited to share my journey with you. If you enjoy this kind of content, you should subscribe. Trying to get to 150 subscribers. I think that's enough to justify doing a live stream once a week. And even if it's not, I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's try to get those subscribe numbers up there. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about you're selling cards on TCG Player. It is the easiest platform to sell on. And by that, I mean the liquidity, the ability for you to post a card and get it to sell so that you can have money. TCG Player makes that easy because there's so many buyers. So many people are just going to TCG Player to buy their cards for their collection and for their decks. So anyways, easy to sell stuff. Now, when you're selling on TCG Player, your feedback matters quite a bit. You really want to have 100% positive feedback. I mean, take a look at this view again of my competition when it comes to trying to sell a fractured foil harmonized crescendo, which is right here, by the way. Woohoo! Beautiful card. Anyway, I'm selling it. So bought it in a collection, bought it to sell. So look at Gamers Guild Alabama. 100% positive feedback. Me, 99.9% positive feedback, which stinks. Worth Playing, 100% positive feedback. JL Magic, 100% positive feedback. This guy was 67 sales, 100% positive feedback. Everyone, except for this guy down here, everyone in the first 7 companies, except for me, has 100% positive feedback. Me, 99.9. Immediately casting doubt. Who cares that I got 10,000 plus sales? I could be a scammer. I don't know. Anyways, it stinks, right? And there's a reason why it's 99.9%. And it's not for a lack of trying. It's not for a lack of niceness. I didn't get to cuss somebody out or anything cool. I got that ding and I deserve it. But it's also something that's preventable and something that I'm going to be extra careful of that will help me prevent this from happening again. So, as I mentioned, I buy collections. I shoot for buying collections at 70% of market, which gives me the opportunity to sell hopefully around 100% of market. And then after shipping and fees, I can net about 10%. So when I buy a $2,000 collection, hopefully at the end of the day, I buy it for $1,400, and at the end of the day, hopefully I'm taking home $200. And so that's kind of the business. A lot of work for not the most amount of money, but hey, it's what you got to do when you're doing the side hustle grind of buying and selling Magic cards. So alas, you buy a collection. It comes with a bunch of cards, really cool and all. How do you get them uploaded to TCG Player? You could one by one manually put them in. You can also use the TCG Player app, which has a scanner feature. You can select Magic. You can select the condition of the cards that you're scanning and if they're foil or not, and then you can scan them. It'll create a list. And once you're done with that list, if you're a level 4 seller on TCG Player, which you have to get to by getting like 50 confirmed sales or something like that, then you can import that list that you scanned with the TCG Player app into your TCG Player inventory. And then you can import it into staged to then make sure the stage prices are right. And then you move that staged inventory into your live inventory. It sounds complicated. It's really not bad. But the point being is that the TCG Player app with its scan feature is really a godsend when it comes to trying to get cards from a collection into your inventory. So where does this go wrong? And this is the warning. This is what I want to share, is that if you have your scanner and you've got your card and you scan your card, sometimes you don't really know that you scanned your card. It sounds kind of dumb, but because sometimes it'll pop up with a little notification like, hey, I scanned your harmonized crescendo. But sometimes it won't. Sometimes it does and it adds it to the list, but you don't get a pop-up. And so then you scan it again because you're like, I want the pop-up to know that I scanned the card. But then boom, you've got 2 harmonized crescendos in your inventory. Oh no. Because you get the pop-up on that second one and you're like, oh, sweet, I got it. I'm good to go. Well, you got it. You got 1 extra that you don't have. So you make a sale on the first one. You're like, oh, great, good deal. And then you sell a second one. And then you're like, oh no, I don't have this card. I just sold something to somebody that I do not have. And unless you happen to have a spare one lying around, you're really in trouble. This has happened a number of times, but recently it happened and I canceled the order and I apologized and said, hey, I'm so sorry. I sold you a card that I didn't have. This person was not okay with that. And frankly, like, consumers have a right? Like, when you buy something, you should be able to get that thing. So that's why I'm saying it's not this isn't a unreasonable customer. When they replied and they were upset and they proceeded to give me low feedback. And yeah, like I said, kind of justified, because I canceled their order because I sold them a card that I didn't have. And now that's a pain in the butt that they have to go and buy it from somebody else. Not cool. But it could all be avoided. The thing is, what the real takeaway is that when you're scanning cards with the TCG Player app, you got to be so careful. You got to really check and double check and triple check. And you don't just need to be watching out for the quantity. You also need to especially watch out for that you're selling the right kind. Sometimes when you scan with the app, it will say like, oh, this is the normal card, you're good to go. Sometimes it'll pop up with a bunch of options and say, hey, we scanned this, but we're not sure if it's the normal card or if it's the pre-release stamped card or if it's the promo packed stamped card that has the Planeswalker symbol on it, right? There's like all these different versions that look very similar. And sometimes they'll ask you for the options. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes you scan a card and it's like, oh yes, we know that is the, stamped pre-release copy. No, it's not, And so if you're not careful, you'll scan it and they'll scan as the wrong thing. And then like I said, if you're not careful, you import that into your inventory and then you're now selling cards that you don't have. And maybe the person is fine getting the normal copy when you accidentally sold them the pre-release stamped one, but maybe not. Maybe they're collecting the pre-release stamped ones. And so you got to reach out to the customer and say, hey, I'm sorry. Are you okay with this copy of the card? Or like, would you like a refund? And either way, it's just a bad experience. So the moral of the story, be very careful with the TCG Player app. It is an incredible tool. I like using it, but you got to watch out. You got to be so careful that you're only listing the cards you have and that you're not selling people things you don't have. Otherwise, you might end up like me, a 99.9%, 99? Yeah, 0.9% positive feedback. So sad. Anyways, once again, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Consider subscribing, trying to get to 150 subscribers. That's the goal right now. So thanks for being here and have a great day.